Have you ever boarded a plane for a dream vacation, only to vanish forever? These aren't ghost stories. These are real. 10 tourists, 10 trips. One thing in common: they never came back. And what if I told you I met one of them? I was backpacking through Eastern Europe, dirt-cheap hostels, sketchy Wi-Fi, but the one in rural Romania had charm, at first. It sat on the edge of a forest so dense it looked black even during the day. The building was half crumbling, ivy strangling its windows, yet inside, it was warm. Too warm. The walls were carved with names, hundreds of them, each one etched carefully, almost lovingly, into the wood paneling. One caught my eye. Lena, 2014, my sister's name. She went missing on a trip to Europe, same year. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. The lettering was precise, sharp, too recent looking to be over a decade old. That night I woke to whispering, dozens of voices, whispering in Romanian, but one phrase repeated, over and over. Întoarce, întoarce. I looked it up later. It means come back. I followed the sound to the basement. Stone stairs, candlelight. A door with leaves scratched across it. I opened it anyway, and behind it, nothing. No floor, no walls, just black. Cold, humming black, like standing at the edge of space. I reached out. Something brushed my fingers, feathery, wet. I ran, but the stairs were gone. I was in a corridor, one I hadn't walked into. The walls were breathing, and then, I swear, I saw her, Lena, standing at the end of the hall, barefoot, smiling. But her eyes weren't right. No whites, just glistening black, like two holes punched into her skull. She whispered, "You came." My legs moved on their own. I couldn't stop. Closer, closer, I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. Then, an arm grabbed me, dragged me back. A man, old, eyes wide with terror. He said nothing, just ran. We emerged in the woods. It was morning. The hostel, gone. Just trees. And one shoe, my sister's. In the Andes, hikers speak of the man who calls. My guide laughed it off. He said it was just an old tale to scare foreigners. A local myth about a ghost who mimics the voices of missing people. But everything changed on the fourth day. We were high up. Altitude sickness had already claimed one of our team. He had to turn back. Just me and a local guide named Thomas, a grizzled man with eyes that never stopped scanning the horizon. That night we made camp near a ridge known as La Boca del Diablo, the Devil's Mouth. The wind howled all night, but at exactly 3:12 a.m., everything went silent. Then we heard it. A voice, soft, cracked. "Come here, please." Not a scream, not a cry, just a plea, repeated, calmly, like someone resigned to their fate. We followed the voice to the ridge. The temperature dropped with every step. I remember my fingers stinging despite my gloves. Then we saw him. A man, mid-30s, in a tattered red parka, standing at the edge, looking down into the valley. He waved. Tomas stopped dead. "He has no shadow," he whispered. I blinked. The man vanished, gone, like flipping a switch. Then the screaming started. It didn't come from the ridge, it came from beneath us. Echoing, layered, as if 100 people were screaming, not in fear, but in agony. Tomas dropped to his knees, rocking back and forth. His lips moved, but the words didn't match his voice. He was speaking in Quechua, but his voice sounded like a child. I grabbed him, tried to pull him up. His skin was ice cold, rigid. Finally, I slapped him. He blinked, came to, said only 3 words. "We're not alone." We stumbled back to camp, but Thomas didn't speak again. Not during the descent, not on the ride back, not even when I said goodbye. Weeks later, I searched the ridge. Online forums, deep web rabbit holes. I found a thread. Disappeared in Boca del Diablo. 10 hikers, over 15 years. Each one last heard saying, "Come here, please." One user posted a blurry photo. A man in a red parka standing on the ridge. Timestamp, 1974. Same man, he hadn't aged a day. Whispers, never directly. One tuk-tuk driver drove me halfway there, then demanded I get out. "No further. Not safe," he said. I laughed. I shouldn't have. The temple was barely a shell, blackened stone, roof half gone. The air smelled like old smoke and dried blood. My friend Jack came with me. We were both into urban exploration. We entered through a collapsed wall. The air changed, dense, hot. Like we'd stepped into a room full of breath. Inside was pitch black. Our flashlights flickered, like something was draining them. Ash drifted down like snow. Then we saw the tunnel, covered with half-burnt prayer scrolls. We crawled through the entrance, stone, winding, steep. The deeper we went, the colder it became. The silence was unbearable, like sound didn't belong there. At the bottom was a cell, tiny, completely intact. On the far wall, a mirror, ancient, cracked. We stared at it. For a moment, we saw only ourselves. Then I noticed something off. My reflection blinked twice. I didn't. I turned to tell Jack and he was gone. I screamed, shouted, ran back up the tunnel. Nothing. No sign of him. I called his name until my voice broke. Then, footsteps behind me. Slow. Barefoot. I spun around. Nothing. Then I heard a whisper from the mirror. "You saw me. Now I see you." I bolted, crawled out of that cursed place. Outside it was daytime, but I swear it had only been minutes. I called the police. They searched, found nothing. 2 days later, someone posted in a travel forum I follow a photo of the mirror. Jack's reflection was in it. Only him. Weeks passed. I couldn't sleep. I started seeing shadows in mirrors, always behind me, always watching. One night I covered every reflective surface in my apartment, but the bathroom mirror, I forgot. At 3:03 a.m., I heard whispering. I walked to the bathroom. The mirror was uncovered. There were 3 reflections, me, Jack, and something between us. Smiling, I smashed it. But I still see them. Anytime I catch a glimpse of myself. And when I blink, sometimes, the reflection doesn't. I tried to go back, to seal it. But the temple? Gone. Locals say it collapsed completely after another fire. No one ever found Jack, but someone else has posted new mirror photos. They say if you stare long enough, one reflection always moves on its own. Still watching? don't go near a mirror just yet. The next story is even worse. In Algarve, there's a beach only accessible during low tide. I'd read about it online. Looked like paradise. Locals called it a Praia dos Esquecidos, the beach of the forgotten. I went alone. To get there, I had to hike through a narrow cliff pass. I left my rental car on a dirt road and took the path down. The cliff surrounded it like a cradle. No signal. No people. Or so I thought. When I reached the sand, the silence was overwhelming. Even the ocean seemed quieter. It didn't crash. It sighed. After an hour, I saw wet footprints, barefoot, leading from the water into a jagged rock wall. I followed. It curved inward into a hidden cave, the kind you'd only find by accident or design. Inside was a chamber, black moss on the walls, crude paintings, scenes of drowning figures, mouths wide, arms raised, frozen in agony. It was a shrine, but not to any god I recognized. Then the tide rushed in. Fast, too fast, I ran, slipped, and blacked out. When I surfaced, I knew instantly. This wasn't the same beach. The sky was red. The cliffs wrong, sharper, like they'd been cut with a blade. The sand was darker, fine like ash. My phone still worked, but the time was wrong. The date said Monday, November 13th, 1972. I walked for hours. No signs of people, no animals, no waves. Just still, dark water. Then I saw something. A woman, pale, long black hair, standing ankle deep in the water, facing the horizon, not moving. I called out. She didn't respond. As I approached, I realized her feet weren't touching the ground. She hovered just above it. And her reflection rippled the wrong way. She turned, and I swear her eyes were hollow, filled with water. Her mouth opened, and seaweed poured out. She said one word. Remember? Then she vanished. I closed my eyes, trying not to scream. When I opened them, I was back. Same beach, blue sky, my backpack beside me. But something was missing. The paintings in the cave, gone, except one. One had changed. A new figure. It looked like me. Standing in the surf, arms raised, mouth open. I took a photo. It's still on my phone. The metadata still says 1972. Every attempt to edit or delete it fails. 3 weeks later, I started seeing footprints in the sand when I walked alone, barefoot, wet, leading to nowhere. Then I got a postcard. No return address and just one sentence. We never left. I checked the handwriting. It was mine. A friend was traveling in Japan. He texted me that night. Taking the overnight to Sapporo. Meet you in the morning. He never showed up. I figured he missed the train. But when I called the station, they confirmed he'd boarded. Platform 13, 10:42 p.m., train ID, K57. Here's the thing. Train K57 was decommissioned in 2001. The tunnel it supposedly entered, sealed years ago due to a collapse. But the camera footage, it showed him stepping aboard, alone. The train pulled away and never came out the other side. The video stops mid-recording. Static. I flew to Japan, met the station manager. He went pale when I showed him a photo of the boarding screen. This train doesn't exist anymore, he said. Not since the incident. "What incident?" I asked. He hesitated, then led me to a locked room underground. Inside, a wall covered with missing persons posters, all with one thing in common. Last seen boarding that same line. There was a map pinned on the wall, routes crossed out, circles around tunnels, notes in Japanese, no signal, don't respond to voices, only boards when alone. Then he showed me something that still makes my skin crawl, an audio log from 1999. Static. Then, voices. Panicked. Whispering. One male voice clearly says, "There's no end. It just keeps going." I asked to see the tunnel. He refused. Too many have tried. So I went alone. I walked the line for miles. Concrete, rusted signs, overgrown tracks. Then I found the sealed entrance, or what should have been sealed. It was open. Inside, it smelled of ozone and oil. Dust hung in the air like fog. Then I heard it. A train horn, but not from behind. From ahead. A light appeared in the tunnel. I stepped aside just in time. As a train shot past, no windows, no lights inside, no driver. But I saw faces. Pressed against the glass. Blank, staring. My friend was one of them. When the train vanished into the darkness, I ran. But I found something. At the tunnel mouth. A ticket stub. For train K57. Stamped with tomorrow's date. And the seat number? Mine. They were influencers, Jess and Cody. Popular, photogenic, always smiling. Number van life, they called it. Traveling across Australia in a retrofitted van with their dog, Luna. Gorgeous drone shots, sunrise yoga, fire pit dinners. Then, their last upload. It started like the others. Aerial footage of them driving deep into the outback. One road, endless red dust, no civilization in sight. The camera panned to a spot on the map with no label, just coordinates. The caption, "Off-grid weekend." The video continued. Cody setting up a tent, Jess laughing. But something felt off. The audio glitched. Once, a frame froze, and in that frozen second, there was a figure behind Jess, just for a heartbeat. At first, viewers thought it was a joke, viral marketing. But no follow-up came. That night, the camera captured them eating under the stars, then darkness. Total silence. Until the audio crackled. A voice. Deep. Distorted. "Not yours." It repeated, "Not yours. Not yours." Then the screen went black. That was the last anyone saw of them. I joined the search team 2 weeks later. We found their van on a desolate stretch of scrubland, 200 miles from the nearest town. Engine running, gas tank full, phone still charging, but no Jess, no Cody, and the dog. Gone. Inside the van was a journal, Jess's handwriting. The last entry was frantic. "Something is outside the tent." Cody says it's just the wind, but it's not. It's mimicking Luna's bark. Exactly. And there's more than one voice now. We checked drone footage they hadn't posted. That night, their drone had recorded motion. 3 shapes, circling, moving in unnatural ways, twitching, stopping suddenly. One of them moved like it was limping, until it didn't. We played the footage in reverse. It looked like the shapes weren't walking toward the tent. They were being pulled. The canvas of the tent? Slashed from the inside, as if they were trying to escape something already inside. We never found their bodies. But a week later, a YouTube account named The Wanderer's Return. Uploaded a single 10-second clip. Black screen. Static. Then Jess's voice, whispering, "We're still here, but it's wearing our skin." The account was deleted within the hour, and every attempt to track the IP ended in a ghost node, a server that doesn't exist. In Italy, I rented a cottage through an app. Beautiful, quiet, a vineyard nearby, but one door was locked. The host said, "Storage. Do not open." At first, it was charming. The view was like a painting. I cooked pasta on the stovetop and drank wine as the sun set. But each night, the same thing happened, knocking from behind the locked door. The first time, I thought it was the pipes. Old houses make noise. The second night, it was louder. 3 distinct knocks, like someone trying to be polite. The third night, it knocked back. I had been joking with a friend on a video call. "Watch this," I said, then knocked on the door myself twice. A pause. Then 2 knocks came back. The call dropped. I messaged the host, no response. I tried opening the door, it was locked tight. Old wood, iron hinges. I looked underneath, darkness, cold air drifting out. At 3:17 a.m., I heard the voice. "Please, I'm still here." Soft pleading, not a whisper, like someone had been waiting years to be found. I opened the door. It led to a narrow staircase spiraling down into the stone foundation. Cold, wet. I should have turned back, but I went down. I counted 24 steps. Then the air changed. It felt heavier. At the bottom, a dirt floor, wooden beams, and a mirror, just like the one from Thailand. Only this time it didn't reflect the room, it showed a different cottage, rotting, burned. Then something moved within the reflection. A figure, head down, long fingers. And then it looked up. It had my face, but older, starving, eyes wild. It said, "Took you long enough." I bolted up the stairs. The door slammed shut. Total darkness. No signal. My flashlight flickered, then died. I don't remember escaping, but I woke up on the road outside the cottage. Bags packed, keys in my hand. The cottage behind me? Just a shell, burned down years ago. I checked the listing. It was gone. But a week later, a new listing appeared. Same photo, same address, different name. Casa delle Ombre, House of Shadows. Which one haunts you the most so far? Let me know in the comments. In Iceland, a solo tourist named Martin set out to hike across Vatnajökull Glacier. It was his dream trip, cold, alien beauty. He was an experienced trekker and brought every kind of satellite gear. But on the third day, he went silent. No messages, no beacon, nothing. Until someone got a text, a single message sent from his satellite phone. I can hear them singing. Rescue teams deployed within hours. They found his last camp, tent zipped, sleeping bag full, backpack untouched. But no Martin. And outside the tent, carved deep into the ice. They remember. They want you too. The search went on for 9 days. Helicopters, dogs, drones. The only sound that greeted them was a faint humming. Faint, constant humming, from deep in the ice. Machines picked it up but couldn't identify the frequency. One rescue worker claimed it made her teeth chatter. Here's where it gets worse. On day 10, they found another tent. Half buried. Not Martin's, much older, with a diary inside. The last entry. The glacier listens. At night it speaks. They call from under. I followed the voice. I think I've joined them. The name in the journal? a French hiker who disappeared in 1976. It gets even more disturbing. Rescuers who stayed on site for more than 48 hours began to experience vivid dreams. They described the same scene, walking on an endless field of ice beneath a red sky, the horizon melting, and beneath their feet, hands, thousands of hands pressing up from below. Martin was never found, but weeks later, hikers reported seeing a figure in the distance, wearing his exact gear, never responding, always walking. One tourist followed the figure for hours and got close, took a photo. When they looked at the photo, Martin wasn't in it, but something else was. A face stretched across the ice like it was screaming from under glass. A friend of mine found a luxury resort in Indonesia. No reviews, no photos, too cheap to be real. I told him not to go, but he was stubborn. Sent me a link. Said, they're offering a 3-night stay for $45. It's some launch promo. He arrived, sent photos. Beautiful. Marble floors, bamboo huts, infinity pool. But not a single guest. He texted, staff don't speak. Just stare. Then, they keep feeding me. Won't let me leave. That was the last message. I flew there. I had to. I owed him that much. I showed his photos to locals in nearby towns. They all gave me the same look. Fear. That place is cursed, one woman whispered. It burned down 40 years ago. No one would take me to the location. I had to hike for hours using the coordinates he'd sent. When I arrived, my heart dropped. Ashes, foundations, charred stone paths. But that night I camped nearby, and in the dark I saw it. The resort, fully lit, lanterns glowing, laughter, music. I walked toward it, closer. Then it flickered. For a moment it wasn't a resort. It was blackened wreckage. Bodies in the shadows. Then back to lights and beauty. I ran. Days later, I checked his Instagram. New posts, sunset dinners, yoga by the sea. Comments disabled, captions generic. But I noticed something. Every post had the same tag. #ForeverStay. And in the background of one photo, I swear I saw myself, standing in the trees. In 1999, a small tourist plane left from Fiji to Samoa. 6 passengers, 1 pilot, clear skies. Midway through the flight, it vanished from radar. Gone, no distress signal, no wreckage, just silence. Until 20 years later, it landed. Same plane, same tail number, on a private airstrip in Samoa that had been closed for decades. The tower crew didn't even believe their own eyes. They thought it was a prank. But the passengers stepped off. The same clothes, the same faces. Not aged a single day. They were confused, disoriented. They thought they had just landed. Except the world had moved on. Family members were older, dead. The airline didn't exist anymore, and the pilot, he began screaming when he saw a calendar, then passed out. Investigators tried to interview the passengers, but their memories were foggy, fragmented. One woman said she remembered white sky. Another said it was watching us. And then there was the child, a little girl, now a woman in appearance, but mentally still 9. She kept drawing the same thing, a circle with jagged lines around it, always in red, always shaking. Then they all slipped into comas. Every single one of them. Medical teams can't explain it. Their bodies are alive. Brains active. But it's like they're dreaming. Together. Some say they're trapped. The plane is now stored in a sealed hangar under military guard. People who've gotten close say it hums at night. The windows? They fog from the inside. And sometimes, faces appear. Not the crew, not the passengers, others. Every few weeks, the hangar's cameras flicker, motion sensors trigger. But no one's inside. Last year, a mechanic disappeared after sneaking in. All they found was his phone, still recording. And in the last 10 seconds, he whispers, "It's coming back. For more." So, next time you travel, take photos, leave notes, keep track of time. Because sometimes, people don't go missing. They're taken, and maybe, just maybe, they come back, but they're never the same. Comment, "I made it to the end," if you did. And if you know someone who travels alone, send them this, just in case.